We got a big game going on right now. Would have been bigger, Mart, of course. Oklahoma City. That would have been 2 games in a row for the Pistons, battling the 2 best teams in the West. The Spurs, obviously, they lost to them, and now playing the Thunder early into the first quarter here. Looks like Thunder up, 7 right now, 29-22. But the Thunder, reigning champs, a lot of people, especially early when they were winning all these games, it's a wrap, throw the season in and just give it to them now. But then the Spurs said, and beat them 4 out of the 5 times this season. Yet and still, another bunch of people, there was a period where they were only playing 500 basketball. Injuries and all, you still feel it's just a wrap, give it to them now?
Well, I said, depending on how this game plays out, right? Because we do this a lot because, Kelvin, as you know, the show must go on. When the red light comes on, you got to put some content out there. And every day we have to have something to talk about. But I do think that if, in fact, this ends up being kind of Detroit has dominated the Eastern Conference this season, right? To me, dominated the Eastern Conference. Cleveland, after making the trades, been one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. Oklahoma City made quick work of the Cavaliers, and if they beat Detroit tonight without I tried to take a picture of all the guys that are out.
It was about 7 guys.
But it's anybody that you would have a jersey for the Oklahoma City Thunder if you're a fan of this team, they're not playing tonight. Chet's out, Shea's out, Jalen Williams is out. Hell, the other Jalen Williams. They might have 2 Jalen Williams not playing in this game. Caruso out. Isaiah Joe is out. He had 20-something points the other night.
I like him.
Led them in scoring the other night. He's out. Everybody's out. And right now they're up 10 at the end of the first quarter over the Pistons. If they are just going to be beating teams like this, or up 9, if they're going to be beating teams like this, we'll still do our shows. We'll still try to convince ourselves there's the 40 days and 40 nights of NBA playoffs and such. But it's just a fait accompli. Like this, I said, Rob G, this is just like Game of Thrones. You sat there, you watched all the different warring families fight here, fight there, but at the end of the day, winter was coming, so it didn't truly quite matter. Whoever wins the East, guess what? It doesn't truly quite matter because winter is coming in the form of the Western Conference because the Oklahoma City Thunder, and to your point, maybe even the San Antonio Spurs are just that much freaking better than the rest of everybody else right now.
So I'm not far away from you, and Rob and I got into it a handful of times early in NBA season because I was saying, man, the Thunder, come on, man, they look great. They might even be better this season, so on and so forth. But the pause for the cause that I have, or the cause for the pause, I should say, you said winter is coming. I'm going to say Wemby is coming. And because the Spurs want to smoke, the Spurs brought it every time they played them. They won 4 out of 5 this season. And I'm not saying they're going to win the series, but they're going to make it hard as heck. The Nuggets might even be sitting here, who took them to 7 last year, might be saying, hey, don't forget about us. I know we've been quiet. I know Jokic probably might not play a couple more games and be ineligible for an MVP candidacy.
I appreciate the wording there. We'll talk more about that in about 15 minutes.
We will.
But I appreciate the wording there.
Yeah, we will. And so I definitely think that. And my also concern would be, while I completely agree that they play great without whatever who's in. All right, Jalen Will, J-Dub's been out a lot this season. Okay, cool. SGA's out. They play very hard. The challenge with that, I believe, is if you all of a sudden now you're not inserting just J-Dub or just SGA. You're inserting both of them who haven't played a lot together. You're inserting, again, Chet who's in and out, and then Hartenstein in and out. To me, trying to now figure all that out on the fly in the playoffs in a loaded, very difficult conference could become troublesome. Not that I'm not saying they're going to lose, but what I mean is it won't be as easy because now you're trying to get back in the groove when J-Dub has barely played this year.
Yeah.
And, and they know he is, and they won with him last year, but you're trying to get your footing right. Guys are taking on bigger roles right now than they normally would. Oh, I got to fall back. Wait, okay. And I just think that could play a little bit, that could hurt them more than even I was prepared for because I didn't expect so many guys to be out so much this season.
And if they hadn't won a championship last year and really, if we're being honest, won it I know they went 7 games in the finals, but really kind of. And I know they went 7 games with Denver. I'm not trying to just...
Don't say no twice and then say relatively easy.
Was it... By the time you saw Aaron Gordon grab at that hamstring with about 7 minutes left in the first quarter, all right, sim this to end.
And then the time... Halliburton, what the Hallie
And so I'm not saying that they had an easy path, but when it was supposed to be these big the moments that were in the most contention were a letdown, no? And it's not their fault. They went out and did what they had to do, but, like, it was either we will just beat the living hell out of you, Minnesota, or when it gets to that point where they were going to get truly tested. And I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but, like, because I do think my whole point in this, I think J-Dub will be able to walk in there and figure it out because but I wonder if it'll even matter because just of how good this their individual players on this team, the roster that they have built.
The roster's insane.
And we were talking about this in the first hour with the Lakers and Luka and the LeBron divorce.
Yep.
Trying to make it happen.
That LeBron.
Brangelina. You know what I'm saying?
LeBron.
All right, anyway.
Yeah, I like that LeBron. I can't think of another one, so I'm going to roll with that one. LeBron.
I spent LaDoncic doesn't work. I spent a lot of time doing this morning. But we are in an NBA era in which, and especially if you go back a step before Oklahoma City to Boston before them, where your best player matters less than who your worst player you have to play. Right? Who your best player is matters less than who the worst guy you have to play. Right? And you look at the teams like the Indiana Pacers, you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, you look at the Boston Celtics, and I'm talking about the Pacers of last year with Halliburton, right? Because clearly he was the engine, right? As you see, that thing is on the side of the road right now with 4 flats.
Man, it had to be that bad. My God.
But we are at a place now where that's the problem with the Lakers. It's like, who's the worst player you got to play? Oh, it's DeAndre Ayton. Oh, you're dead.
Well, and that goes to what I'm saying. When I believe the NBA now, and I think a large portion of it goes back to the Warriors when they drafted Clay, Harrison Barnes, Steph, Draymond, and they went on this nice run. And then you start to kind of see iterations of that. You see it, then you saw it with, we got Marcus Smart, we got Jaylen Brown, we got Jason Tatum. We're supposed to be not good because we know they got rid of all the big three and Ray Allen and of course is gone and Rondo's gone and all these guys, KG. But all of a sudden you realize the Celtics didn't really have a dip. They were good, and they're growing, and they're getting better. And then you start to see that with the Thunder. The guys they drafted, and then they got a young guy back from the Clippers who, all right, maybe he should be good, but you didn't know he was going to be MVP caliber every year good with SGA. So you're seeing these teams that have a multitude of people. Maybe it's because of the second apron where it's going to be hard to just have balloon contracting, just expect guys to come in and work, and we saw that with Phoenix last year. Well, just get Bradley Beal, just get Kevin Durant, and we should be okay. Team him up with Devin Booker. And it doesn't work that way. When you went back, when you had better, you had Chris Paul, who played his role. I'm the point guard, I'm setting guys up. I'm setting up Devin Booker, and it was working with and DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, he's not a superstar, but he blocks shots, he can run the rim, and it works well with Devin Booker. You see that formula worked all the way to the finals up 2-0. You change that formula, and now you're looking horrible to the point where everybody's gone now. And now they're playing much better without the other two guys. So I think you are getting back to an NBA that is well-balanced, similar to kind of that Dirk 2011 team, where, yes, you got to have a star, right? We know it's NBA. You got your star in Dirk, but you had a very good Jason Terry.
Yep.
You had a very good Shawn Marion, very Tyson Chandler, J.J. Barista. You had Jason Kidd. You had a bunch of guys, high caliber, high IQ, great motors, and they wanted to win. And you had that, and that's, to me, how I'm seeing teams play now, where you got to have a star. Of course, it's the NBA, but the idea of just, we get him and we good to go, it's not the case anymore.
For a second, I thought you said J.J. Barista, which would have been a hilarious nickname for J.J. Barea.
Was he serving coffee?
That would have
J.J. Barea. I think I did say barista, low-key.
J.J. Barista.
J.J. Barista, Barea. Mama call him Barea. I'm going to call him Barea.
Could you have imagined if that was his nickname before the 2011 NBA Finals? LeBron got locked up by J.J. Barista?
Yeah. They would say something about he was serving them coffee. He was serving them hot lattes or something like that. He'll come up with something. But I think the Thunder are clearly going to be the favorites if you're Vegas or if you're just watching. If you make me once we get to the postseason, me and Rob will sit here and go, well, who do you got? I would likely, as long as no crazy catastrophic injury happens, pick the Thunder. Well, but I do think it's still going to be tough. I think it'll be a tough road. The West is deep. You got teams who are going to be gunning for them. And I do think you might be underselling the East just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.